You might be wondering how Caribou ends up in Wano as a prisoner. After recovering from his defeat by Pecoms, Caribou shows up again to kidnap the mermaids with his swamp powers. Fortunately, Jinbei arrives and defeats him. Jinbei then prepares to hand over Caribou to Marines. On the way, Caribou with his crew suddenly appears to rescue Caribou. Jinbei dives into sea and leaving them behind. Jinbei reached the G5 Marine base and dropped Caribou off. The vicious G5 Marines soon find him and plan a brutal tortures for Caribou. Just before they burn Caribou, his crew arrive to rescue him. They clashed with the Marines and Caribou free his brother from the stake. However, Caribou decides to abandon the rest of his crew at the hand of the Marines. Later, a storm wrecked Caribou's ship, forcing him to flee on a small boat. Caribou barely survives and collapsed on a winter island filled with metal trees and rocks. He's then saved by an old woman named Baburu who took care of him in her home. Caribou sneaks out without waking her and tries to steal her meat pie and jewelry, but Baburu surprisingly forgive him, even giving him a coat and lunchbox before pointing him towards harbor. On the way, he encounters armed soldiers mistaking him for a person called Commander Gaburu. Baburu suddenly arrives and drives them away. After that, Caribou waving farewell to Baburu and heads to harbor. However, Caribou decides to return to town and spots more soldiers searching for him in front of a building. Using his power, he sneaks inside and discovers it is a weapon manufacturing factory. He goes back outside and sees the soldiers and workers starting a rebellion after believing that the revolutionary commander Gaburu has returned. Suddenly, Kaido's enforcer Scotch arrives and attacks them, forcing Caribou to flee. Scotch and his men then burn the entire town as example for anyone who dares to oppose them. Caribou returns to Babaru's home and find her collapsed on the floor. He picks up a photo beside her and find out that Gaburu was her late grandson. Baburu wakes up and mistaking Caribou for Gaburu, begs him to run away. Suddenly, Scotch crashed into the house and attacks her. Baburu then attempts to hold off Scotch alone so Caribou can escape. In the harbor, he finds his crew already waiting on a stolen marine ship. Caribou immediately hugs him as their late grandma always saying brothers must stay together. Meanwhile, Scotch captures Baburu and prepares to execute her, but stopped when a marine ship lands with Caribou and his crew acting as reinforcements. A battle broke out between them and Scotch's men. Caribou then traps Scotch and his men in quicksand. He also sinks the entire weapons factory. As they were celebrating their victory, a massive dinosaur suddenly appears and defeats Caribou. The dinosaur reveals to be ex-Drake, who working under Kaido. He drags Caribou away to his ship. Before they leaving, Baburu offer Caribou one last meat pie. Caribou wave goodbye as he is taken away while the others and Gaburu is cries in tears. Later, Baburu visits Gaburu's grave and reveals she always knew that Caribou was an imposter, leaving Caribou and the crew shocked.